And today, a key witness for the prosecution took the stand, a woman with highly anticipated testimony, former porn star Stormy Daniels. And she is key to the prosecution's case against Trump. Can you tell us a little bit more about how they intended and how well they did about tying in her relationship with the former president to their case?
Today was a very big day for the prosecution in this case because, in many ways, Stormy Daniels is the star witness, from one side being on the substance and the factual background, but also in terms of the prosecution's legal theory that there was a conspiracy to withhold information and influence the 2016 election by making an alleged hush money payment to Miss Daniels. So the purpose of today's testimony, what the prosecution was trying to drive home, were really two main points. The first point was that the alleged affair between Miss Daniels and former President Trump occurred. So that's one. The second is that they were trying to tie the hush money payment, or whatever payment she had ultimately received, however it was characterized, as being done in furtherance of a conspiracy to prevent that information of the alleged affair from making it out to the 2016 election. So it's a very important witness. And the prosecution spent substantial time today with Miss Daniels really going over the details of the alleged affair, getting a lot of information out about it in really salacious detail that caused a lot of fireworks in the courtroom today. And on multiple occasions, Judge Mershon had to step in himself and limit the testimony of what Miss Daniels was able to go into and what she wasn't able to go into, because it was really starting to go down the path of extreme detail of sexual relations. And President Trump's attorneys actually moved for a mistrial today, stating that this information that she supplied was so prejudicial, was so harmless, but not substantive, not on the actual facts of the case itself, that it should be excluded completely, or there should be a mistrial. So there was a lot of tension in the courtroom today, but the prosecution really pushed forward this narrative and then tied it up by saying that the payment that was received was done in furtherance of blocking it from the 2016 election.
And some of the questions were related to the fact that Stormy Daniels' payment, the payment that Michael Cohen made, was around the same time as the Access Hollywood tapes that came out, where President Trump allegedly, or he said on a recording about grabbing women's genitalia. And the allegations by the prosecution are that the whole goal was to continue to suppress any negative publicity around the timing of the 2016 election. And so this whole catch and kill of Stormy Daniels' story was part of this conspiracy on the part of David Pecker, who was with the National Enquirer, Michael Cohen, and others, and tied in again also to the financial documentation, the financial records. So it's a broad conspiracy they're trying to paint. And Stormy Daniels was key somehow to showing that this was part of a broader election interference conspiracy, not just about financial records. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Exactly. It's the idea that this alleged affair occurred in 2006, but then later comes up in anticipation of the election. And what the prosecution is trying to do is go through the narrative that President Trump and his team were looking out for anything that could damage him going into the election and trying to limit it. So this is one piece of the puzzle as it fits into the Hollywood Access tapes. Everyone knows that when that information came out, it was damning. It painted former President Trump in a negative light. So an additional story like the Stormy Daniels one and potentially other ones put together could lead to a negative picture of former President Trump. And that's why the conspiracy that they're alleging took place. That's why they started taking steps to catch and kill these stories and eliminate them. So the prosecution is working in tandem, on the one hand, saying, here's the factual basis for what occurred. And then on the other hand, making sure that they're laying out how this ties into the broader theory. The conspiracy case that they're putting forward, it's not a straightforward and easy case to prove. They need to prove that there was an agreement to commit an illicit act or an illegal act. So there are steps to this conspiracy, and this is one piece of the puzzle. Stormy Daniels is so public, though, and such a publicly facing figure, that it was a big day for this testimony, because when people think hush money payment, they're mostly thinking about this particular issue with Stormy Daniels.